What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today is Wednesday, which of course means it's time for another Western York Wednesday here on the channel. And the beer I'm reviewing today comes from Brewery Ardennes, and they are out of Geneva, New York, and this is their Dubbel, aka Dubbel. So this is a Belgian-style Dubbel that comes in at 5.6% alcohol by volume, 26 IBUs. And at the time of review, I don't know exactly how old this bottle is because it does not have a bottled on date. However, I picked this one up at the Magic Bear Beer Cellar in Buffalo, New York. So shout out to Craig and his shop. Fantastic selection of a beer, and he had a lot of different offerings from Brewery Ardennes. This is a brewery that I have not featured on the channel. I've had some beers from them at beer festivals, but this is the first time I'm reviewing a beer from them. So I picked up a couple from his shop, this and their Belgian White, which is a Belgian style Vit beer. And speaking with Craig and whatnot, he said that most of these should be relatively fresh. However, a beer like this, even if it was like a year old, we still should be good, but it should be quite fresher than that. So as far as this brewery goes, they are a Belgian style brewery. They're located in Geneva, New York. I know a couple good friends of mine and fellow beer tubers, Dan and Mike over at FLX Beer Reviews. They really dig their beers. They've reviewed some on their channel. If you're curious to know more about their beer, check out some of the reviews they've done over there. So I picked up this, like I said, the Belgian White, and I want to give it a go. As you know, if you do follow the channel, and if you don't, I am a fan of the darker Belgian style. So Belgian strong darks, quads, doubles, as opposed to the lighter color one. So I picked this one up along with the Vit beer to get kind of a little mixture of beers. I love, the presentation of this beer. Like the label's just awesome. We have a little bit of a riser here. So that kind of won me over. And yeah, we're gonna give it a go here. So let's give it a pour. Also says Grand Cru on the label. Just means, as far as I know, like the definition of the Grand Cru is just like means of the highest quality. A lot of times breweries will do special special beers if they're a Belgian brewery like Amagang, for example, who for many years would, do yearly releases where they'd be like, oh, this is a Grand Cru and whatnot. Just means a very high quality beer. It says Grand Cru on this label, so that's why I wanted to mention it. So this has a beautiful, I don't know what I would say that is. Like a nice amber, deep amber, mahogany kind of color. Has about 2 fingers of a beautiful, almost, I'd say more like a tan colored or maybe like a cream colored. Nah, it's darker than cream colored. Khaki colored we'll go with. It doesn't look soap sudsy. It looks more kind of smooth and creamy as opposed to anything else. Obviously, this is unfiltered, so we'll pull out the contraband here just to see if you guys can see this a little bit better. So yeah, you see that like kind of ruby red mahogany color? That's kind of what it looks like in person. You hold up to light. But as I show it to you in the camera, that's kind of how it looks in person when I'm just looking at it on this side of the camera. So yeah, actually looks beautiful. Let's get a nose. So on the back, they have 3 kind of tasting notes or like quality. It says warming, toffee, and malty. So warming means should be warming going down. It's 5.6%, we'll see. Toffee, obviously, and then malty can mean a bunch of different things. Toffee for sure. Toffee, caramel, has a beautiful like caramelized sugar kind of quality, a little bit of molasses. Getting dried dark fruits. Like a figgy kind of nature to this one. Definitely raisins. Maybe even like a sweet dark cherry. Has a big breadiness too, like almost like a biscuity bready kind of note to it. The phenols from the yeast, little bit of spiciness, not too big though, like maybe a touch of like a clove. Maybe even cinnamon. Yeah, smells really nice. It smells like, and the reason why I like Dubbels and I like darker beers is because from the Belgian style, is I just love the malty goodness that these kick out. And to me, a lot of times I just get like fruitcake qualities. And I'm probably someone under the age of 50 that loves fruitcake. You don't see too many people that like actual fruitcake. But my grandma used to like it, and then my dad liked it, and now I like it quite a bit. In small dosings. Like I'm not gonna sit here and house a fruitcake, but a piece every once in a while, sure. And that's what I usually get from these styles. And it's for me. It smells really good. Let's get into it. Cheers, everyone. That's wild. It's 5. This is 5.6, right? This is 5.6. And I'm not going to say there's an alcohol surency, but it does have a little bit of when I took that sip going down the palate, definitely I don't understand that. Usually I get a warming in the chest, I get an alcohol stringency, but like as I took that sip, I like picturing like a strong dark. Body's nice, medium, maybe a touch over medium, 5.6% appropriate. The mouthfeel is the voodoo Belgian, style where it's like effervescent, crisp, but it still somehow remains somewhat smooth and creamy going down on the second half of the palate. Definitely has a nice creamy kind of vibe to it. The taste isn't as complex as the nose was kicking out. I'd say this is more in that caramelized sugar, bready kind of malt character. So it's like you had caramel toffee mixed in with like a darker brown bread. Maybe even like a honey drizzle on top of that. That's what hits me at the forefront. Passes through, I get that dried, I want to say it's like a fig. I'd say more a fig and a raisin as far as like the dark fruits go, the dried dark fruits. But I'm getting an ever so slight tartness, like not in like an off tartness, but just a slight like fruity tartness of like a cranberry, just kind of randomly in there. Maybe a little bit of like a tart cherry, like it has just a little bit of that. As it passes through, second half of the palate, this actually has a firmly dry finish, and it's mild to moderately bitter. Has like an earthy kind of bitterness to it. Almost has a drying, like if you've ever had like a pumpkin beer, or you know how, the drying sensation of just like pure up straight cinnamon is. So this has like a cinnamon clove kind of dryness mixed in with a mild to moderate bitterness. Again, has a lovely warming kind of sensation, but like my chest isn't on fire. It's just like, I don't know how to explain this because I don't think I've ever had this happen before. This taste from that little like warming sensation, this is like 9-10% at the very least, and it's 5.6, but it's not boozy. I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody out there, but it seems like it has a booziness that does not equate to a 5.6% beer, but it also isn't boozy. I just blew your mind, I just blew my mind. I'm making no sense, and I realize this. So 5.6%, I can't tell, but if I was doing this blind, this would be an absolutely wild mystery / whodunit beer, because if I was doing this blind, I might mistake that for like, again, a dark strong ale or a quad, and I might say, oh, this is 9.5%, 10%, and I would be incredibly wrong, but I'm telling you right now, that's what it tastes like. So this is drinking bigger than what it is, but at the same time, it's not. I'm gonna just stop talking. I'm gonna pour the rest of the goodies in here because I kind of formulated a score already. I'll just be honest with you, there's a lot of goodies at the bottom of this. I don't think this is like blowing my mind, but here's the thing. I guess here's the thing once in a while, or all the time. This is a very well-constructed, well-put-together Belgian-style Dubbel. It kind of, hits most of the notes and whatnot, so stylistically, this is pretty nice. Ooh. Pouring all the goodies amplified those phenols, at least for me. Big cinnamon, big clove, maybe even a little bit of like a coriander. Really bumped up the spiced kind of characteristic coming from the yeast. Where do I want to rate this? I said I already had a rating, but I don't. One more sip. I think this is a nice beer. It is. I'm sure they make better beers, but for the first beer I had from them, I think this is pretty good. Not blowing my mind, not over the top. As far as the brewery goes, they win a lot of awards in New York State for like being a Belgian brewery. I know a lot of their beers have won like, bronze, silver, and gold medals at different competitions. I think they won, I think it was last year, one of the competitions, they won like best Belgian inspired brewery in the state of New York. And I can see why. I got to visit them at some point. The only other like Belgian style or Belgian inspired brewery that I've been to is, I think it's Abandoned Brewery. They're in the Finger Lakes as well, in like an old red barn. And I think this is kind of similar to this. They're just kind of like out in the middle of nowhere in Geneva. Anyway, I'm going to give this one straight 4 out of 5. Can't go any higher, can't go any lower. I think this is just a well put together, enjoyable Belgian style Dubbel. Kind of different. I like that warming sensation. At the same time, I don't understand it, but can't understand everything. And if you watch the channel, you know I don't understand most things. So, yeah. Anyway, price point availability. I think I paid $4 for that bottle. And I think this is a 12 fluid ounce bottle. It's not one. No, it's 11 fluid ounces. So 11 fluid ounce bottle, $4. A bit pricey at the brewery. I think it was $3.50 I saw. But it is a Belgian style beer and they do everything correctly. So not too bad. And then availability, pretty much New York State. Mostly probably, I would say, Western New York area, maybe in Central New York. I don't know for sure. Check out their website. Maybe they'll have a beer finder. If not, they'll maybe let you know where you can find it. On top of that, they do have a spiel on the back that I will read and make this a little bit longer. So we'll say, inspired by the beers brewed by Trappist monks, this full-bodied. So when breweries say full-bodied, it's 5.6%. I said it was around medium-bodied. Is that considered full-bodied for a 5.6% beer? Sure. But, you know, you compare this to, say, like 12% Imperial Stout, and you'll see the difference between, like, a full-bodied beer. So I think most places, when they do these write-ups, say full-bodied for the style, for the ABV. If that's the case, sure. It says it pours a dark chestnut, so that's probably the color I was looking for. I was like, what does it look like? Mahogany, ruby red, amber? Yeah, okay. Dark chestnut color with fruity aromas of plum and raisin. Did not say plum, but I can see that for sure. Especially if you got ever bit into like an underripened like tart plum. That's kind of what I would say plum actually is full on. And raisin. So yeah, like I said, the malty-rich flavor includes hints of caramel, yes, and toffee as well, and finishes with a well-rounded bitterness. I say it's more dry than bitter, but okay. Brewed with a variety of Belgian malts. It pairs well with roasted meats, dark chocolate, and nutty cheeses. Brewery Ardennes thoughtfully crafts Belgian-inspired beers of character in New York's scenic Finger Lakes. Our French bulldog mascots, barley and hops, remind us to savor all of life's moments. Did not know that. Do they have them? They don't have the mascots on the label. Anyway, so that does it for this one. Like I said, I have their Belgian Vit beer, and maybe I'll pick up more later this year and review them if I see more here in the Buffalo, New York area. But good brewery. If you're ever in the Finger Lakes region and you're looking for a Belgian-inspired beer and you want to check them out, highly recommend them based on what I've heard about their brewery. So yeah, good stuff. Can't wait to get in the other one. So if you've had this one before, please post in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about it. Like I said, 5.6%. Definitely drinks bigger, makes me think it's bigger, but not because it has like a huge warming in my chest or an astringent on the palate. It just feels bigger. And it's one of the most weird sensations I've had in a while when reviewing one of these beers. But it's kind of cool because it's unique and it's something that I really haven't had too often in my life. I would honestly guess like 9.5% if I was doing this blind, which could speak to what they're talking about, like the warming on the label and whatnot. So anyway, appreciate it. To the next one. Cheers. Check back next Wednesday for another installment of Western New York Wednesday. Until then, cheers.